Next is from Harry Ruiz, Raiders Latino announcer.
Friend of the show.
Subject is AEW Dark and Elevation. First off, thank you for delivering the best podcast in the industry. Patreon is 1,000% worth the money.
You're welcome.
I understand the criticism for AEW Dark and Elevation, and it's not a top-tier product. But I'll give my perspective on why, in my opinion, something positive for the fans of AEW, especially those in attendance. I've been to 2 Dynamite and Rampage shows in Chicago and Vegas, and while there's only a certain amount of talent you can watch on these shows, AEW taping Dark and Elevation the same night gives the fans in attendance the opportunity to watch pretty much every talent there is to wrestle live. Personally, I fast forward through the show to hear the crowd reactions for entrances and finishes because the results are too predictable. How this is a mailbag, here's my question. What's better? Wrestlers being booked for a Dark or Elevation match when they're at an AEW show, or superstars making the trip to Raw or SmackDown to find out they're not booked and just hang out in catering? P.S. WWE also taped some of their Dark matches for a show called Main Event. Difference is they don't publicize it much, and this is from Harry Ruiz in Vegas. Bro, I just don't... I mean, I don't know. Do you make it a point of why... Like, you get to see all this talent, but why do they have so many people that they literally just have to have a couple extra shows to book squash matches for these guys? That to me is like you're telling me, okay, we have way too many people.
Well, isn't it good though for the younger guys to get that time in the ring in front of the crowd and everything? Yeah,
it's good for them, but it's like who gives a watching some indie guy in a squash match? You know, like from a viewer's standpoint, it doesn't draw anything.
Well, they get a few 100,000 views on YouTube or whatever. You know,
big deal. Konnan, what do you think?
Yeah, they'd get more views if they had, more competitive matches. They have all these names, and you're putting against guys that you're bringing in just to be cannon fodder. One squash match is cool, 2 squash matches is cool, but a whole bunch of matches against jobber.
A show of squash matches is not,
Yeah, this ain't the 1970s where people would watch that. So you want to watch competitive matches, and you see if there's young talent, you keep repeating them. But Ruby Soho versus wrestler B that you've never heard of.
Yeah. Conchita Miranda.
Yeah, right. Ortiz versus wrestler you've never heard of.
Yeah, I guess.
Abaddon versus wrestler you've never heard of. Who wants to see that?
Right. It's all
boring.
They also use it to beef up the records too, so they can go, oh, he's 19 and
bro. That's not a good reason.
Yeah.
Put on competitive matches and you'd get more viewers. Right. I think it's I don't like it. And even Harry Ruiz, who's the biggest fanboy because he actually has a license plate that says it, he says, I fast forward through the matches. Why? Because you know what the outcome's going to be. Yeah. So that's letting you know that what you're doing is not right. So, I disagree with you, Joe, and I disagree with Tony on this.
And I can disagree with Harry. Harry, if you're literally fast-forwarding through the matches, and you're a fan, well, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what's the point of even having them then? It's like you're putting on matches that your hardcore fans are literally fast-forwarding through. It's like, why even do it to begin with then?
Right.
It makes no point. It makes no sense.